We invited people, if they wanted, from our sponsor group to talk for a couple of minutes, and around 8 of you have said that you would do so. So we're very grateful to that.
Hi, I'm Larissa Lockwood, the Director of Clean Air at Global Action Plan. Normally people look at me quizzically when they hear my job title, but it's amazing to be in front of a room of people who are all working on clean air. It's really exciting. Global Action Plan is an environmental charity working on issues at the nexus of environment and health. Air pollution is clearly one of those issues. And we work on a number of areas, so research, collective action and advocacy. And we're a small charity, so our model is to sort of mobilise others. So we work with schools, businesses, healthcare organisations, local government, and doing direct-to-public work to help organisations to tackle air pollution, to help their stakeholders understand about air pollution. So we run things like Clean Air Day, Clean Air Night, and then we channel those insights from what the public and organisations can and can't do to tackle air pollution, and we sort of interface and advocate for change with government, both local, regional and national. But today I'm actually here representing and as a member of the Health Equals campaign and coalition, which is a campaign come out of the Health Foundation. And they are working very much on Michael Marmot's area on health inequalities, trying to sort of start and rebuild the public understanding about the wider determinants of health, or as they say, the building blocks of health. So they're running a public engagement campaign. They're also doing a lot of work advocating for change, working with the Department of Health as well, trying to get sort of health inequalities back on the agenda. And I'm really pleased that as part of the Health Equals campaign, they picked 3 key areas: housing, employment and clean air, which is why they're supporting the event today. Thank you.
I'm Catherine Oakes at the University of Leeds, and I was the PI of the Breathing City network, which was one of the SPF clean air networks. We have, sadly, our funding has run out. So our funding ran out at the end of August, but we are trying to keep things going as a community. The focus has been very much on ventilation of buildings. We have a lot of resources on the website. We have a data repository on the website. Many of you know we've been trying to work up ideas around developing an indoor air observatory to try and actually get better data on environments. This is like some really massive, ambitious long-term plan, but, you know, hopefully we'll get something there. And we still hope that we're going to be able to do some events and community stuff. So if you're not already connected, I've put my email address on, but also the Breathing City one, which still works for a while. So please go on there and sign up and be on our mailing list, and then we can tell you about things. And I also wanted to use this as to give you a plug, because we launched this 3 years ago. This is our 3rd World Ventilate Day, which is on the 8th of November. It is very much a community-facing thing. So this is, you know, not about doing something, just a single event. It's very much about social media. Everybody get involved. So if you're thinking about anything to do with indoor air, and you can do it on the 8th of November, please do. If you run social media, please put something out that day, even if it's just like pointing people to resources. If you can get into your communities, if you can talk to businesses, talk to people, really promote the importance of ventilation and good indoor air on the 8th of November.
Next up, I'd like to call on Mark Peckham from Combustion, please. And Mark is an instrument manufacturer, and you'll find him at many air pollution conferences with really interesting things that he produces.
Checks in the post, Gary. Thank you very much for that. Unfortunately, I've blown my 10 bob on funding this event, so I can't afford any slides, I'm afraid, but I'll speak really quickly. So we produce very, very fast response gas analyzers. Particularly here, I suppose it's most appropriate to think about the nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide. We do a lot of work where we sit on the side of the road and we watch and measure the emissions from vehicles as they pass. We're looking at their number plates. And CARB in the United States suggests that the top 2% of emitters, trucks anyway, are responsible for 50% of the air quality problem. So if you can get those gross emitters off the road, it's a big bang for your buck. So we do that. We've done some work with the DVSA where we've been in pursuit vehicles, and we've got our instrument in the back. We're sniffing the air coming from the plume of the vehicle in front. And we've had some impact there because the first time we did this was up and down the motorway near Liverpool. it was like shooting fish in a barrel. You know, almost every truck we were behind had got some sort of defeat device fitted. The last time we did it last year, I think we got maybe one a day that was a violator. More recently, we've kind of gone off at a tangent. Our equipment is now used for breath-by-breath analysis for nitric oxide therapy, which is used as a vasodilator to open up blood vessels, and it's also an antibacterial, but it's important to measure the NO being absorbed, inhalation minus exhalation amount of NO, and also to monitor the amount of toxic NO2 that's produced by the mixing of the NO and the oxygen. And that's it.
Thank you, Gary. And thank you all. I think this was already, you've seen it. I won't take you too much of the time. So BioNet, is this BioNet now?
Go back one, Gary. Gary, you want to come forward?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's not quite what it shows on this screen. Go for that, back where you were.
Okay.
No, hang on.
All right. Yeah,
Allow
I think
me.
you might have seen it already.
Oh, he was right.
This is the one. Okay.
I'm
So-
sorry. It's without my glasses on.
That's fine. So BioNet was one of another sort of SPF Clean Air Network program. So this sort of network specifically was formed to look into the societal challenge of how bioaerosol sources and emissions profiles are affected by diverse elements of indoor and outdoor physical and social environments, and also specifically like how does that translate into the exposure profiles and the resultant health impacts. So altogether we were working around interlinked 4 themes, looking into the characterization area, linking it to what kind of the health impacts it have in terms of the health and well-being, and also broadly looking at into the sources and the dynamics of the bioaerosols, and finally linking it all of this into the policy and public engagement. And through, over the last sort of 3 to 4 years, through a range of activities, primarily focusing on the discovery science and translational research, some of these are mentioned here. We have produced a range of outputs starting from the toolboxes, standard sort of methods, along with some of the frameworks we were very much keen to develop in terms of the linking how you can communicate to policy, but as well as to the broader sort of a wider public. So we developed some of the communication frameworks. So there are colleagues from BioNet here, 5 or 6 of us around here, Emma, Pipa, Simon Jackson. We do have a posters as well and a couple of the talks as well later this afternoon. So please do grab us during the lunch and the coffee, and we can tell you more about what we have done over the past 3 to 4 years and how you can engage with us going forward. And finally, this was not the end of this. So building on this, we have managed to get Research England funding on developing or establishing a future biodetection technology hub for the next 5 years in collaboration with University of Hertfordshire, Manchester, and Leeds. So I'll leave it there.
So WMAIR is a 5-year programme funded through the NERC RISE scheme to improve understanding of air quality, and in particular improve air quality and health across the West Midlands. The programme spans development of new insights and capability, and then application of that with over 30 partners across the region, ranging from the Combined Authority and the NHS to Birmingham County Football Association and start-up companies. Just to give you a taste beyond the poster, that's included measuring real-world on-road vehicle emissions, developing our own in-house sensors and supporting the Combined Authority to deploy a DEFRA sensor network, assessing the changing composition of PM in the region, and particularly the contribution of wood smoke to our PM burden, and leveraging the OSCAR SPF project to do that. Developing a new high-resolution air quality model to predict air quality at 10-metre resolution, applying that to understand changes ranging from net zero policies to COVID to transport shifts to rail emissions, and linking that with work from Cambridge Environmental Research Consultants and the Max Health SPF project to improve the reach and the leverage. We've produced a regional toolkit to calculate health impacts and health costs and health care costs from air pollution. And the idea there is to help local authorities generate the business case for clean air action and to help them put pound signs on some of the impacts that we talk about. And we've done work around local urban design and the use of green infrastructure, and particularly where we believe that can be effective, in effect, managing dispersion and air flows as opposed to pollutant adsorption. And finally, and as a poster on this later, working with the combined authority to develop a regional air quality framework and draw down DEFRA and DLUHC monies to support an air quality sensor network. WMAir is about to come to an end. It's not an SPF project, but it's definitely hugely benefited from and hopefully leveraged a lot of the SPF funding and networks. And some of the work and the community of practice that we've built is going to be carried on by the WM Net Zero project, which Songbo will tell you about.
So WM Net Zero is funded by Wellcome Trust, and it's really built upon WM Air project before. So we're all here to promote clean and healthy air. The WM Net Zero is aimed at promoting our healthy transition, healthy and just transition to net zero, including by improving indoor and outdoor air quality and by avoiding unintended consequences that Louise talked about earlier. So you'll see here in the photo, we have a very transdisciplinary team. Most of them are sitting here in the audience. So our work ranges from qualitative research, including, for example, participatory systems mapping, to quantitative research, including real-world observations of indoor-outdoor air quality in the Net Zero neighborhood pilot in Dudley, and modeling studies of the impacts of different Net Zero policy options in a regional local context on the health and economy. So our work is we aim to work with our local and regional stakeholders in the community to put health in the center of the Net Zero transition. Thank you.
So the consortium was set up because it's counterintuitive to expect that all particulate pollutants are going to be equally toxic to you. So we wanted to try to create a platform that enabled the ranking of the hazard of the different pollutants. And the way we were going to do that was to establish the toxicity of all the different components from real sources. So we looked at generating very controllable and repeatable sources of pollution from wood burning, diesel, secondary organic aerosol, cooking emissions, and created a systematic program to look at in vitro, animal in vivo, and human exposures to try to look at the rank ordering of the various pollutants. The idea was to try to establish the sort of mechanisms of the toxicity by looking for biomarkers, and I forgot to mention that we're actually using the platform to as a demonstrator application for neurodegenerative disease with a particular focus on Alzheimer's. So the idea is to look at cognitive impairment in the humans, look at the biomarkers in the humans and the animals and the cell exposures, and to look at the epigenetics, so the way that different genes are switched on in order to create these biomarkers, to try to establish the mechanisms and look at a way to link the in vitro, in vivo, and human exposures. And once that all comes together with lots and lots of expertise across a large number of universities and collaborators, hopefully someone a bit cleverer than me will be able to put it all together and look for the hazard ranking of different particulates.
Like Kath, I've led one of the networks, the health and equity impacts of climate change mitigation measures on indoor and outdoor air pollution, HICAM. I showed this slide at the networks conference last year. My backup slides aren't needed, so excuse me while I move. So that's interesting, the extra bits to the slide, but hopefully it's the same thing you guys are seeing.
Yep, looks the same.
Okay, so HICAM was all about thinking about climate and air pollution at the policy level, how that impacts outdoor air quality, how that impacts building design, how that impacts indoor air quality, which together with behavior affects our exposures at the outdoor-indoor interface, how that impacts human health, particularly for thinking of vulnerable groups, and the circular route to perhaps policy recommendations. So you can just see from this a very ambitious but interesting dialogue. This is some of our team. So I want to go straight away to our not so ECRs, and I'm saying that because so many of you, it was a fantastic journey for us to watch as investigators to see the ECRs. Now a number of you are in permanent, verging permanent, or becoming established researchers, and that's been great. I'll come back to you guys. So I have some reflections, and I'm not going to go through them because time's not needed. But I did want to talk about engaging with networks, and there was a really great seminar series that Tapas and Fuven have put together. So we all had our different bits and pieces, and it's been great engaging and working with you guys. So I want to go back to our ECRs, just some things that you'll see in the next few days. Amber's talking about 10 questions concerning the future of residential indoor air. That's a collaboration led by our early career researchers that we're working towards publication. And also Alejandro's got a poster on the influence of outdoor air on indoor air. Doug, all of us are working as one of our working group outputs. So it was fantastic to see all the context this morning. We're trying to think about towards a just transition, this work by Lauren in one of our ECRs on, again, deprivation and PM exposure from outdoor sources that is felt indoors. And then Yorgos is talking about the location of sensors. So if you're monitoring in the home, how representative is your sampling strategy for understanding the exposure of the different occupants in the homes? And we also did a small project looking at low-cost and high-cost technologies and what they've done. Okay, thank you.